Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter
465.
It is the second day of the week, aka the special beam cannon workout. Feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyway, to the main subject matter for today, the cucking of the music industry, or the more likely term that I'm going to use for the YouTube title that's a little bit more, family friendly, the stifling of creativity by the music industry. So today's episode was inspired because I'm currently watching Fish Tank, which is a live stream, and they recently moved all their live streams, or at least one of their streams, to Kick because Kick has looser copyright claim stuff, and they don't really care about a lot of the stuff that they might get in trouble in, say, YouTube or Twitch. And it got me thinking about an elimination that happened. They played this copyrighted music while the person was getting eliminated. It made it a very emotional thing, right? And it was great. It was excellent. 10 out of 10. Content. Pure cinema. But the thing is, because of that, it made me think of I wanted to watch it again. And I was like, man, I want to watch it again with the original music. But unfortunately, if I wanted to watch it on YouTube with the original music, I can't because everybody's afraid of getting fucking owned by the copyright strike and or copyrighted music, even if it's for 5 seconds, which is an insane thing that we have to deal with. And it's something that I've come up against so many times, whether it be on this channel or anywhere else really on YouTube. And I think that in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how much the music industry sucks and how much they probably don't deserve a single cent. And hell, they won't even give the artists a full cent. They'll give them 0.0003 cents per play. So that's why in today's episode, we're going to be looking at how it stifles creativity and how I'm not necessarily for AI music because I do think AI music isn't necessarily good. But that's a different conversation for a different story. But I understand why AI music is used, and I hope that it's going to be a wake-up call for the music industry to realize that you're not going to matter nearly as much as you thought you did in 5 years, because there's so many things that are going on with technology, and they've decided to stay in some draconian dinosaur-like state. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at that, and a lot of the stuff that goes in between that, because there's a lot of layers of nuance in this. Even hell, just humming a song in something like this is kind of crazy, and why I use video game OSTs for a lot of my videos and stuff. But we'll talk about all of that when we get to the race.
All right, so started this day off with squats, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. The cucking of the music industry, or whatever else I decide to call this, because of course we're not allowed to say harsh words like that on YouTube. The main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because of, like I said, there was some type of media that I was watching, aka Fish Tank, that was a live stream that people can't unfortunately play music on unless you are on a platform that doesn't give a fuck, like Kick. But the entire point of it is that, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the music industry has gotten so far in and of its ass that it's basically making it so all creativity is stifled, even to the point where other creators within the industry within it of itself are also having issues, whereas to now, if there are any songs that sound even remotely similar to other songs, you're going to have credits for it. And I think that all stems from a trial from Marvin Gaye's parents, or the estate of Marvin Gaye, versus Robin Thicke in like the early 2010s or something like that. But because apparently Robin Thicke, or Robert Thicke, whatever the fuck his name was, had a song that sounded very similar to a Marvin Gaye song, and that caused a lot of issues. So now songs are credited for anything that even sounds remotely similar. But that's kind of a different story in a certain sense. Just like those artists that are obsessed with being number one on the charts, that's also a completely different animal in and of itself, because that's a different type of quote-unquote artist that is up there at the top. I'm talking about the bog standard, low level to medium level artist that wants to just get their shit out there. I think a majority of them probably wouldn't care as much to have their stuff out there. In fact, they would probably want to work together with certain things, so then that way they could be associated with certain aspects of social media, especially because of the virality that it can provide and allow people to actually listen to their stuff. And I think that that's the biggest issue, is that I feel like the only thing that keeps it so down and draconian is because we are cucked by these systems that don't allow anything more than 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're actually listening to this song. The idea that I cannot hum a song because of the fact that it might sound exactly like a real song is such an insane level of control, to the point where it is malevolence in practice, basically. And it's so evil that it's honestly astonishing. Those who are a part of that, or actually even agree with something like this, are so insane in a sense that, yes, I understand why you wouldn't want to have, full on songs just being monetized. That makes total sense. But we're talking about the stifling, or at least the idea that, hey, maybe if you use like 10 seconds of a song, maybe the entirety of the monetization or the ability to even use the song shouldn't be thrown out the water. And in this case as well, there is this level of sampling that also gets thrown into this, but that's a different story for a different day. That was also an issue and will probably still be an issue regardless, especially now when songs that are quote unquote written millions of years ago are now going to be copyrighted by families and estates years later. So that's going to become an issue. And I think generally this is just an issue with copyright, but in particular with the music industry, it is insane. I personally hate it. I hate the idea of all of it. I'm not necessarily like free all music, of course, but I'm also understanding, and having had a brother who's on the other side of it, who is a musician, know that more likely than not, I'm pretty sure I could say that he'd rather have people listen to his band and enjoy his band and do other things like come to a show, buy a shirt, promote his music through social media, rather than worry about somebody pirating the song or putting it in the background of a video. Because look, if that video gets popular, all of a sudden he has a popular song. And I bet you a lot of the artists would love that rather than have nothing at all. And I think that this is even shown with the amount of people that play local bands. The local band scene is a tiny scene, but it is a scene nonetheless of people that are actually diehard about the music itself, not necessarily the status or the money that comes with it. They want to actually be musicians out there. And that's what's so frustrating, is that it's so ass backwards with what a majority of these people want. I'm not going to be talking about the 5% or less, because those people are insane. And also they are driven by completely different things rather than somebody who's a small to mid-level artist. I know that there are people out there that are willing to send, like, let's say their beats to that one guy who's on Instagram just judging it off the first 3 seconds, which is an insane thing. But at least there, they get a decent to fair shot, even though it's only 3 seconds, but it's just some random guy. And it's so insane to even think that that's just what even people are clamoring for, just for the possibility of someone listening to anything that they do, which is astonishing how fucked the music industry is. But we'll talk more about the music industry, but this one is particularly for the creatives.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. The cucking of content by the music industry, or whatever else I decided to name this episode. The main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because, as somebody who likes to create videos on YouTube and has been up against the wall occasionally when it comes to copyrighted things on YouTube, it's very fucking annoying when you have maybe 5 seconds of a song. You have to do less than 5 seconds now. It used to be you can get away with 4 seconds of a song and they won't fucking anally rape you. But nowadays they want to take everything, even to the point where if you might be humming the fucking tune that you're thinking about, that might be enough to say, hey, that money you earn, fuck you, it's ours. And it is quite literally insane. I think that the rise of AI music is going to put a damper in a lot of this stuff, because I think copyright law, though useful and somewhat understandable in certain use cases, I think that doing it to a point where you're looking at like you being ultra punished just for using 10 seconds of a song is quite literally asinine, is only going to make things worse as AI music comes up and they'll just say, hey, do something that sounds similar to this and that won't trip up the copyright censors and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, hey, look at that. You have something that's even close to it. And I'm not necessarily even a fan of it, but I think that they're going to have to figure out something or be a little bit more lenient, because people are just going to say goodbye or fuck you to any type of thing like that and just start using that shit. And then that's a whole other discussion, because I would not like AI music to get popular, because really, besides like a little bit or like a little funny thing here and there, which is a whole other thing, it's fine, but also shouldn't be replacing music, especially when you're getting rid of the artist. That's a whole other discussion. I don't want to get too into that, but I think that it's so stupid and asinine to still be so draconian about it, particularly because most people would just like to do things that are artistically be able to express themselves on the internet without having to be like, oh, we're gonna listen to this whole fucking song, but more so just give a little bit of leeway when you're actually doing something creative. Instead, we have to make sure that, you know, everybody gets their little 0.33 cents like a long time ago from a song that nobody really listens to anymore, or God forbid you do get striked for like a local band that happened to put up their fucking music on Spotify, that you're like, let me go local, but they had to sign a deal and now their shit is also copyrighted by some giant conglomerate that they had to go through in order to put their shit on Spotify. It's so fucking retarded, and it makes zero sense why they would still continue on doing something like this where it stifles creativity. It makes it so that people are afraid. The other reason why I want to discuss this, which is, this will be a different episode in its entirety, is that New Japan Wrestling is notorious for copyright striking anything that has any type of New Japan like footage. It is to the point where there's a joke, and it happened, where they struck their own YouTube channel. That's how fucking crazy they are. That's an insane level of like draconianness, but that also is a Japanese thing, so that's a different story for a different day, because we're talking about Nintendo when it comes to that one. But in general, when it comes to music, it's so annoying and frustrating how you just can't allow the letting go of like 30 seconds of a song. It's like, oh, you've listened to it too much, but yet if I open up Spotify right now and listen to a preview of something, I'll still get 30 seconds of the fucking song. So it's a next level mental retardation that makes zero sense and will forever be anti-consumer, and thus why I'm forever pro-piracy. And besides, most bands, and unless you are Taylor Swift, who wants to be the #1 woman on the charts because she's insane, and also a whole other story for a whole other day, I'm gonna save that one, but unless you are trying to be the #1 on the charts, really, no artist cares about how you listen to the music. They'd rather you just be able to listen and then get the other things that they provide. They earn literally nothing on the fucking streaming rights. Well, most of the time they just get it from either deals or merch or seeing them live. That's all real, where the real money is. So they'd rather let you listen to it and then go somewhere else to, like, then if you become a fan, you'll actually go out of your way to do stuff for them. You know, that's the whole point of it. I find it so ass backwards to try to make the songs themselves so locked down. You know, it makes zero sense for the artist. But then again, we're looking at a group of people that are probably in control, that realistically are probably some of the worst people in the world, and also they share a lot with a lot of other people in the world, and I don't want to get too into that, but realistically a lot of them share a lot of stuff, similar characteristics with bankers and a few other groups like that, but we can't talk about that here. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one kind of random, but still something that I still come up against, and I think a lot of people come up against. It has fucked over small musician YouTubers as well. I can't even imagine doing that type of stuff, because, well, you're fucked, especially if if you do covers or you do other things, you're just kind of screwed over. Like, you can't even get popular unless the song is popular, and then people watch you because of the fact the person this cover that you're covering is popular. Unless that happens, you're basically boned, because the YouTube algorithm will say so. Shit's fucked. And not to mention original music, the YouTube algorithm will be like, you know, so yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic, to say the least. But anyways, with that being said, tell me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy, stay safe out there, and stay warm, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.